Hello everyone, welcome to this inaugural episode of Bier versus Bier. To start out, we're going to go for two giants in the industry, both Trappist style quads. I say Trappist instead of Belgian quads because La Trappe is actually made in, I believe, the Netherlands, not Belgium. So we've got La Trappe Quadrupel versus Rochefort 10. So, as you can already tell, the color between the two is vastly different. You've got much darker on the Rochefort compared to the La Trappe. So let's go ahead and compare. Well, actually, let me read this to you first. So the Rochefort is 11.3%. The La Trappe is 10. So let's compare the noses, though. Interesting. Now these have been sitting for a little while, so I will say that in these glasses, the La Trappe Quadrupel has a stronger smell. It does sort of have a fruity character. Normally I would expect a quad to be dark fruits, but a little bit more of like a, almost like those sun-kissed raisins, but the white ones, not the dark ones. The Rochefort 10 definitely has more of those deep smells, almost a little bit chocolatey note too, as well as the dark fruits. Smells a little bit more similar to a German Doppelbock, for instance. This interestingly, this La Trappe 10 reminds me a little bit of a Belgian triple. A little bit sharper on the nose, like you smell it more, sort of more piercing, but not unpleasant. So this one's tough because I actually think I prefer the underlying notes on the Rochefort more, but it's not intense enough, whereas on the La Trappe it's more intense. So in some sense I like the smell of this better just because the Rochefort is almost just too dull. I'll try to stir it up a little bit, maybe that's part of the problem. Oh, that helps. So when I swirl it, I do actually prefer the Rochefort, even though it's still not as strong. It almost made when I swirled it, it almost made the La Trappe too strong, a little bit too pungent, like isopropyl alcohol smell. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in for sips. Okay, so this is a little bit more, almost, I won't say pungent, but it's sharper than I remember when I had it the last couple times. And both of those times were very recently. Still a great flavor. Let's see, Rochefort. Yeah. Okay, yeah, these are quite different. I remember, so both of these I saw recommended on a video by, I think it's the Swedish Bier guy or something, and they had like 4 Belgian style quads. I know they had the St. Bernardus ABT 12 or Abbott 12, the Rochefort 10, and then I forget what the other ones they had were at the moment. I can't remember, but his guest, I think Anna or something, had also, this was like her favorite thing, one of her favorite beers of all time, but she specifically mentioned La Trappe and said, if you can find La Trappe in your country, definitely get it. And it wasn't clear to me whether she actually likes it more than the Rochefort or not, but she singled it out as like, no, you need to try this if you haven't had it. So I think they both liked, I know she at least liked the Rochefort 10 the best out of the 4. I think the Swedish Bier guy might have as well, but I don't quite remember. Okay, let's see. Try to do some normal swallows and then some retro-nasal on a subsequent swallow, because I do pick up different notes when I do the retro-nasal breathing out. Okay. Yeah, the Trappe Quad is it is good, but it is a little bit, the word pungent just keeps coming to mind. I don't know, it's like you taste the alcohol more. It's a little sharper. Reminds me a little bit of a white wine flavor, but with a little bit of sourness to it. It's funny is I would have guessed this is more of a triple if I had not known any better. Cleanse my palate a little bit with some water. Okay, so Rochefort 10. Okay, so this is interesting. I definitely taste more bitterness on the taste and aftertaste, actually, on this, but it's not overpowering. It's not bad. I typically don't like bitter beers, but I do like some beers I like that have a little bit of bitterness, but I don't go for it. Like, I'm not a big IPA fan, but I do like stouts. Like I like Guinness and other stouts. But I typically don't look for bitterness. I like malt-forward beers. I like Doppelbock's is one of my favorite, if not the favorite. I also like wheat beers a lot. So Weizenbock's, of course, is one that sort of combines those two, which I really like. I love the Vitas. But on the Rochefort 10, it is more of that dark fruit character. Reminds me quite a bit of a Doppelbock, which I've always kind of seen a similarity between Doppelbocks and quads, or Belgian dark strongs. So okay, so it's got this sort of initial bitterness for me that does sort of stay there. It doesn't really go away. Then you get like these waves of the dark fruit characters, like raisin, maybe date. But sort of also a some sort of there's almost a slight sourness to it, but that could just be my palate today, so I'm picking up on both. This is hard. Okay, when I started, I really thought I liked the Rochefort better. Even off camera, I wanted my wife to try both because she had only had the Trappe before. I wanted her to try both side by side, and she much preferred immediately the Rochefort 10. She actually didn't seem to like the Trappe this time, which I thought the first time she tried it, she did like it. So I don't know what's up with that, but so I tend to like doubles and quads more than triples, but there are some triples that I actually have really enjoyed. So I keep being reminded of a triple with this quad. It's weird. It's also even lighter, which, than a typical quad, at least in what I typically see in quads or dark strongs. So it's interesting because my understanding is that the term quadruple was first used by them, the Trappe. So I don't really know how that fits in. So it's good. I will say there is a little bit, the word that keeps coming to my mind that I've been trying to not say, because it is good. It is a little bit, it does have a sweet aspect to it. I don't know if it's quite cloying, but it does sort of stick. So maybe that is the right word. But the word I've been trying to avoid using is medicinal. It almost reminds me a little bit of like some sort of medicine you give to a child, where it's like you're trying to make it a little bit sweet, but you can't get rid of the fact that it is medicine. Almost syrupy in a way, but not in thickness, but in, I don't know, the tenor. Cleanse my palate. All right, so yeah, I think I like the smell of the Rochefort better. This is much stronger, but almost sharper, like a higher note, if you will, if we use a music analogy. And this is deeper and richer. Yeah, so I think the deeper and richer is a good comparison. I wouldn't say either of these is necessarily bright, but the Trappe is brighter. The Rochefort is deeper. So the Rochefort would be more like a bass baritone. The Trappe would be more tenor soprano, or maybe alto. Not quite a soprano. It's not that bright or stingy, but it is got a little bit of a sharpness to it. The Trappe also kind of has a little bit of that syrupy medicinal flavor, which is not surprising because I kind of tend to feel that way with most Belgian Trappist style beers, because they do tend to have a lot of those added characteristics to them, very complex, multiple flavors hitting you at once, but with a sort of sweetness, even if they're a little bit sour or bitter at the same time. Yeah. It's going to be a tough decision. I thought it was going to be more of a slam dunk. trying to think which one I would just want to drink on its own. I shall admit, I actually don't like going back and forth between two, but it's the only way for me to really get a fair comparison. Is if I do things side by side, otherwise I really don't know. I much prefer just to have a beer and like sit down and drink it. But then I'm always wondering, wait, do I like this better than the other one or not? But I can't really tell if I separate it because my, for whatever reason, flavor memories are just more limited. They're not as sharp in my mind, and I think that's true for most people. You can remember sights okay and sounds okay. But when it comes to flavors, it's hard to really remember. Like it's hard to compare across time. Like if they're separated in time, if they're all similar. You might have a general idea of what you like more, but I've learned through other taste tests that we've done. I've done with family members on not beer, but on other things, gin or even sandwiches of different kinds. We did taste tests with Italian subs. We did taste tests with gin. We did taste tests with chicken sandwiches. And I was often surprised. And we did them blind. So that, I think we did the gin blind. And often I was surprised by the answers. So when you compare things side by side, like you might think going in, oh, definitely this is going to win. And then you go to compare them and you can be surprised about what the outcome is. I know, like for instance, my dad was a big Tanqueray fan his whole life, but twice, we redid the blind taste test for him because he wasn't happy with the result the first time. But both times he picked Beefeater. I don't remember what I picked. That was too many years ago. But it wasn't Beefeater. It was either Bombay or Tanqueray, I think. But yeah, this is hard. So I like the Rochefort 10 because of those dark fruit notes, which is just something I tend to really prefer. But it is a little bit more bitter than I like. Most people would be fine with this, and it's not too bitter, absolutely speaking. I just mean the bitter quality to me stands out a little too much, so it's interrupting my experience of the other flavors. The Trappe's good and it's interesting, but it's just a little bit too syrupy and candy sweet, or it's also got the aftertaste is a little bit sour. I think I mentioned that earlier. So overall, I'm gonna have to say that I prefer the Rochefort 10. So that will be declared my winner for this beer versus beer. All right. So that'll do it for now. Let me know in the comments what your choice would be if you've compared these two. All right.